Okay, never mind. He's like, I mean, I may have gotten my hands on some, not very common stuff from the dwarves about how to do stuff like this. But this is my work. This is not their work. Okay. Ah, good. No one's stole. And then he realizes all of you are like looking down at his work and he goes, ha! And he like covers the sphere, like throws a rag on it.
So,
You're acting
did you see the one that was launching arcane force at us?
Yeah, it's not supposed to do that. That's an emergency venting procedure.
Is that the same thing with the steam?
Yeah, but of two different things.
It hurts.
Wait. Who are you people?
We're the ones that just stopped your creations from massacring an entire
right, massacre.
And killing
I'm
you.
gonna go to jail.
My name tearing me apart. Thank you very much.
My name is Vanya Forest.
Okay, you hear the distant whistles of the sheriff and the deputies approaching.
My name is Vanya Forest, Paladin of Smyrna. One person has passed this day.
Yeah. Oh,
Wait,
When I-
great.
When I see the sheriff, I'm like,
goodness.
hello.
They're not in line of sight. You can hear them
okay.
coming. He says, "Look, I don't have much time. Does this stuff interest you? What I've done here? What we've made?"
You said it's not supposed to be like that?
He whips the cloth off and he says, "This is sabotage." And he looks down at it and he says, "You can tell by the stress lines of the crack here. Someone took a hammer to my work, and then they shoved this. What even is this?" And he pulls out a gem and it like fizzes with a little bit of arcane power and he chucks it. Ugh. He says,
Sabotage.
He says, "Look, they're gonna take me away any second now. You want something I've made? I'm happy to give it to you. Find out what happened here, clear my name, and I'll give you the greatest stuff. Techno sorcery." And then he like kind of does this pre-planned jump and clicks his heels. Tell him to come in. And with his speed strength rig that he's wearing, and he says, "I can give you whatever, but
He's not here.
just solve this for me, okay? Clear my name."
First, can you tell, like, if they had taken a hammer to this, it should have just shut down, right?
I mean, I have redundancies. Probably would have worked in an inefficient. That would explain why it took so long to power up.
I'm gonna grab one of the gems.
Okay. Okay, you grab one of the gems.
Can
Give
you
me a
tell?
wisdom saving throw.
I'm gonna pull Vice aside,
Yes.
out of earshot from
Okay.
everybody else.
So you pick it up, and there's a discharge of something into you, and then you can feel whatever power was in this completely bleeds away, almost as if it doesn't store a lot of its own power. But for about half a round, in other words, you get to make one action, everyone around you is trying to kill you, defend yourself.
Okay. Alright. You guys are really lucky I don't have any, like, damage AoEs. I could have taken Fireball.
What were you saying? Who's defending themselves? Just her?
Just her.
Who's the biggest threat? I'm gonna send a second level chromatic orb at Sotan.
That's Sotan?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and attack with disadvantage.
Okay.
You're very definitely engaged.
Can't sentinel, can I? Just kidding.
I mean, you could punch her.
I'm just kidding.
Where do the dwarves reside, by the way?
The dwarves, they live in Steinmark, which your people's
Do I
city is underwater around their mountain.
Do I see her beginning to perform
Yeah.
magic? Can I attempt to grapple even if she makes the spell through?
Give me an initiative, both of you.
Both of them?
Yeah. He asked me, so.
13.
And he has Sentinel.
21.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
And I rolled a 13.
13? Okay. So the spell begins to form in your hand, and you discharge it right as, I assume, you grappled her quite
That's a
successfully.
roll 20.
Yeah, that's like a 28.
So
You just, like, pick me up.
You just pick her up, and the spell goes...
what are you doing?
And then you're immediately clear.
Nobody touched the gems.
At this point, the sheriff and his people come running up. Actually, not the sheriff, but a bunch of deputies come running up, and they're like, "Hey, big guy, put the girl down."
She was shooting spells. I had to make sure she.
Yeah, sure.
You
The
have- you
one
have-
crossbows
You
at
have
you.
her.
Okay, Sorry, miss. Huge minotaur holding a halfling girl like off of her feet. That's how they're gonna react.
Does he put me down?
I assume so.
Okay.
I mean, did they take her?
I
or
mean,
they
the
just like
guard.
Oh, he wasn't physically carrying you. He was just like,
Gotcha.
come with me,
Okay.
get behind me, sort of thing. Get behind me.
So I will squat.
Okay.
At the same time, I'm going to be pulling Vice aside,
Okay.
and I want to pull him away out of earshot from everybody, essentially.
Okay.
And then I'm going to just whisper to him, do you know anything about this? Is this from where you're from?
I have a feeling it might be. What I do know after just a small inspection is that coal is very valuable to the earth elementals.
Could it have been elementals inhabiting these?
I think it could. Would I have known by looking at it?
Give me an Arcana check.
Also do an Arcana, or help him?
Yeah, go ahead and go ahead. You can give him advantage.
I'll give you advantage.
So go ahead and roll with advantage, please.
Okay. Arcana's +6, I think, yeah.
I also guidance you.
And add a D4.
Huh?
He's guiding you as well.
Oh, another D4. So 16.
16. This does not seem elemental to you at all. It is. Most magic that comes from elementals is either very primitive or very refined. This is pretty primitive,
Okay.
but it just doesn't strike you as something that they would do. Their magic is very innate. It's just something they do. It's something they understand until they start getting to the higher levels. This required both a lack of good tools as well as an understanding of the arcane elements involved. Because whatever happened, they went specifically for the thing that would specifically affect its ability to choose, that sort of thing. Its mind, if you will.
Okay.
And that doesn't strike you as like they would just go and break the thing.
Okay.
They wouldn't do something like this unless it was one of the djinns, and they would do it much more efficiently and proficiently, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It would not be as crude as this.
Yeah. I mean, there may be some elements involved that may seem elemental, but as far as I can tell, I think has something more to do with somebody constructing something, using some sort of arcana magic that doesn't have anything to do with the elementals. It seems more unnatural.
Okay, so what is over here? Dwarves.
I'm explaining to the guards kind of like vaguely what happened and asking for a few minutes to like investigate.
Okay, go ahead and give me persuasion.
I'll be throwing in every now and then that I can, being like, and that is
Okay.
when I came in with my great sword.
So while this is going on,
Trying to
crowds
help
beginning
her.
to come in, and they're saying that man, he almost got us killed, and all that sort of stuff. So what's your roll?
19.
Could I have
19, dang.
given her persuasion?
Advantage?
Advantage?
Yeah, go ahead and do it with advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Before they were
Yeah.
all surrounding, I would have. There's one more question I really wanted to ask the artificer.
Okay.
So this is sabotage. Yes, these gems weren't supposed to be there. I think the hammer got taken to this. But can you tell if making your things go wild and attack people was the intention of who did this? Or like, can you look at this and see what the engineering
This is a
would
very
be?
complex question to ask in a very short amount of time.
Or
Give me
does this look like something that
Give me a
was
charisma-
just an accident?
give me a charisma check with disadvantage.
Gosh dang. It was really nice.
Okay. What's your total?
Not good. 6.
6. Okay. Luckily, he rolled well. So, like, you're asking him of this. This is literally. So you asked that of you. What was your final roll on the persuasion rather?
19.
19. Okay. So. Man, trying to figure out the sequence of events of this in my head is a little weird. Okay, so you're asking him that. The sheriff runs up, comes and grabs him. They yank him away. As they're yanking him away, he's going to yelp because he's like being dragged away at this point. And he says, "It looks planned." As he gets dragged away, you run up. You say, "Hold on a second." And the guard that's with him looks kind of junior, and he's like, "Oh," he seems swayed by you, and so he says, "Yeah, sure, just one more thing." Meanwhile, behind him, you can see his sergeant whips his hand around like, "What? No!" and starts walking over your direction. But you got time for one question.
Okay. For the artificer?
Can I move so that I'm standing between the sergeant and the person she's talking to try to buy a little bit more time?
You can. There may be consequences.
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm not like barging. I'm just like turning as though it's like I'm joining the conversation.
Give me a charisma check to try and do it nonchalantly.
I'm going to
Natural
say
20.
Oh dang. Very nonchalant Minotaur.
He's
anything
very big.
anything suspicious, anyone that can help.
He's like, I mean...
And I'm going to cast, like, Detect Thoughts, just in case that helps.
Okay, so you cast Detect Thoughts. His mind is a mess. He's, like, trying to run over things. He's like, running through his apprentices and the other people on his team. And that doesn't seem to resonate with him. But you also get this, like, I don't think so, but I never thought this was possible in the first place, sort of a thing. He's going to be, like, running through a checklist. He's a very smart guy. And so he kind of, like, breaks it down in his head. As the sergeant gets delayed enough by Vanya that he is able to get this out. And he says, there have to be a few things. They'd have to have access. They'd either have to have enough understanding or be able to get at my blueprints. They'd have to have at least a decent arcane foundation to be able to understand this, like, self-powered charm thing they're doing. It's not even a charm, whatever it is. And they'd have to have access to these raw materials as he gestures at the little bits of gem or crystal or whatever it is. He says, and for whatever reason, the only reason to do it this way would be to discredit me or to attack what we're doing in and of itself.
So,
Who has access to all of those things?
He's like, well, I mean,
Other than you.
This is our 33rd show. I mean, how long have they been following us?
what I'd like to imagine.
He says, we've got a barn on the outskirts of town.
Can
They
I,
start pulling him away.
I was gonna say what I like to imagine is happening is the sergeant comes up and like taps Vanya on the back. He turns around and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, very sorry." And
the little, like,
the sergeant like moves aside and goes, "Oh, sorry, oh, sorry."
And he's not getting mad at you. He's just getting impatient. Just like hold still, and then walks between your legs.
And that's
As
what
this is all happening, do I see anybody suspicious?
Give me a perception check.
Or looking around, or...
This would be a guidance appropriate moment if you so desire.
Can I think back to our time spent in the city? Have I seen anything that would lead me to believe that some people here might be against what they're doing?
Go ahead, give me an intelligence check.
22.
22. What was your question again?
If I saw anybody that looked suspicious, as I was looking upon this as if maybe trying to watch something unfold.
Okay. So, you remember the half-orc artificer that was showing off some of the stuff?
Yes.
She's looking a little shifty. As the sheriff and them come in, she's like intentionally like still being present, but trying to put herself out of line of sight or out of attention as much as possible. And the other thing that you're going to notice that's weird is, give me an intelligence check really quick, actually. What did you get? 8. Nothing stands out to you. Everybody seemed to be pretty excited. And that doesn't seem very Veil to you. The Veil's kind of always like, oh, this is new and interesting, I'll check it out. I've got no use for it, but it's fun and interesting, sort of a thing.
20.
20? Okay. You're going to be looking around, and you're going to go, that's weird. There's a bunch of what looks like little halfling and mousefolk kids that are just kicking around. Most of them are seated. They're not really focused on anything. They're in little clumps, like a few over here, a few over there, and they look like decidedly homeless. And this isn't really an area where you like this event is not something that you think that they would allow kids like that in, because it would, create a negative image, etc.
I'm assuming I'm still near Zotan.
Yeah, sure.
I kind of just like elbow him and mention all this stuff to him. It's like, as I look around, I kind of noticed something weird. It's like, I don't know if it has anything to do with this situation, but, you know, I point towards the half-orc woman. It's like, the sheriff came in, she looked a little shifty. It's like, and also, do you notice all the, you said halfling and mouse folk?
Yeah, it was like locals. Local
Get around
races.
in here? Isn't that kind of strange for a convention like this?
Seems so.
What's Doc doing? You're not miming in the corner.
Let's get a question about that guy. What he knows about the dwarves.
We'll see. You can get one question in before he gets hauled off. What are you gonna ask him?
I was just wondering what his relationship is with the dwarves.
So he just threw out real quick. Just oh, I mean, they're the masters of this stuff. I mean, look at yourself. Like, I'm just kind of hanging on the capes of the giants here. Just, but I mean, like, the idea is to come up with something that's not you guys. So it's not like slavery. It's like something else that's not like awake. It's just follows instructions, and it doesn't require huge amounts of arcane power to drive.
How many of these prototypes have they built?
He's like, just the two as he's being dragged. Well, rather, give me an intelligence check.
But, no, intelligence.
Fine. Okay. You saw other constructs here that people could look at and stuff like that. They weren't as big as these, but if you remember, the whole point of this show was to show off his solution to the problem with those gems that would crack and break.
Where do those gems come from?
I don't know.
I want to do more investigation.
You want to go ask one of the other artificers?
I do.
Okay. So you're going to wander off. Do you want to head over to the construct person, the enhancement person, or the tool person?
Enhancement person.
Okay. Okay. So you head over to them.
Yes. What are they
Okay.
like?
So that one was a gnome, if I recall correctly, a gnome man.
So, I'm looking down.
Okay.
I'm like, excuse me, sir.
Says, oh yeah, what can I do for you?
I have a few questions about these prototypes that that me and my fellow companions, kind of got.
He seems totally shell shocked, so he isn't weirded out about the random Warforged asking him questions at all.
Just wondering if you know anything about the gems that were inside these monstrosities.
Are you talking about like little flakes that were in the core, or are
if
you talking
happen
about
to
the?
know anything about the gems?
Or are you talking about the gems that are on the stuff that are not used to constructs? Okay. He says, oh, it's very simple. We use low grade precious gems to store. We run it through an arcane script that converts thermal energy into a storable form inside a gem. The problem is that's unstable, hence they crack.
And did you get these materials from the dwarves?
No, you can buy gems wherever there's mines. I mean, the dwarves have a lot. They dig a lot.
Jim, what do you happen to know about? By the way, can I take a piece out of one of the?
So are you going for like one of the little bits of purple
little
crystal?
Bits of purple crystal.
Okay, so not the red gems. It does crumble some in your hands, but you're able to get some.
I just want to show them.
Okay, and nothing happens when you grab it.
Eat it. Just kidding.
Lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
You just grabbed some crystal.
Okay, I was just saying, would you happen to know anything about this?
He's like,
I don't even know. I'd be like, I don't even know what to call this.
it looks like it's also low grade. I think it's a crystal. It's nothing I'm familiar with. Whoever worked with it doesn't know much about shaping gems for arcane use. The cleaner the cuts are, the more efficient the power transfer is. This is really crude.
Because they kind of lean down and say the word on the street is that this was sabotage.
Word on the street? It's been like 3 minutes. There's word on the street? Oh, jeez, we're ruined.
And then I say, news travels fast around here.
We're so ruined. At this point, the deputies are rounding up the other artificers as well and beginning to bring them in. Vanya, what are you doing?
I will glance over where the saw was before.
Yeah.
Thinking that it might be just hanging out.
It is.
I will go and pick it up.
Okay.
After I dismount the Warforged from my back.
Ow, ow, ow. The deputies take them away. Yeah.
So real quick, I asked the
Hold on a
guy.
second. I need to make a perception check for some deputies. They are bad. Okay. No one bothers you when you walk over and pick it up.
So I asked the guy who could have done this. He said they would have had access to the blueprints, to the prototypes.
He's being dragged. He's like, you'd have to like yell this at him.
No.
No.
He
This what
he already said this.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're confirming. Okay. Yeah.
So he said blueprints. They had to have access to the blueprints, access to the prototypes. What else did he say they would have needed to have access to?
They would have to have had enough arcane knowledge to understand the basics of how the core worked.
Okay.
And to understand how to use the powering system to power their sabotage, essentially. While they had that amount of arcane knowledge, they did not have enough to do this more effectively or efficiently. This is a pretty crude sabotage, but showing some arcane skill. That makes sense?
Can I ask one of the officers a question?
Yeah, there's some deputies that are coming around and stabilizing things.
So, excuse me, sir.
Yes, what can I do for you?
Yeah, I was wondering, where did this festival come from? Where was the last city it came from?
Let me consult a map real quick. It's been traveling along the coast. I know that much. Give me a second. Let me just bust out my
Take your time.
handy pamphlet about where they've been traveling from.
This is a good time for deep breaths. Ugh.
In the meantime, I'm going to go sit down in that little center.
Do you have the sword right now?
Thingamajig.
The sword
Yeah.
or the saw?
Oh,
saw.
so
The saw.
go ahead and add the auto-reciprocating saw to your inventory.
Is
Has
that
been made.
is that yours?
I am a what is the word?
Bag of holding.
Hold on, I am a representative of the company.
No. It's a good idea.
Okay. I'll slide it in the back of one.
And that's how you get away with theft.
They rolled a 3 and a 6
He said
on
I
their
can have
perception.
anything as long
so-
as I help him. So as long as I help him, it's not.
Well,
He said if you prove him innocent.
yeah.
we're
helping
walking.
him.
We're walking away. There are more people who will see.
It's fine. Yeah,
There are a
him.
couple of more minor cities along the
what'd you
way,
say it
but
was
the
called
last
again? The
big one
reciprocating?
was Garda. The auto-reciprocating saw.
That's such a great name.
I would like to do something. Can I have a second?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I would like to try and tell the guards to have everyone, if possible, kind of like back up a bit while I go back to the opened automaton.
Okay, give me a persuasion check.
So Luke, I go to the back of one of those robots and I see a chaos symbol in the back of it.
15.
You do not see a chaos. 15.
I'm just kind of like clear the area.
Okay. So as you suggest that, Sergeant says, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I understand that you were instrumental in helping to strike down this automaton uprising, but I need everybody to clear out of the way. This is a sheriff's business now."
You said I could look.
No, the sheriff, the sergeant did not. It was one of the other guys that did.
Is the sheriff around?
The sheriff is not here. The sheriff has more important, well, probably not more important things, but the sheriff would not be around to locally respond to this.
Do cities have like a military?
Depends on the city.
Because I was like, they had a couple of those in the military in their service.
Very useful.
When they don't go crazy.
So
Right, they don't go crazy.
I'm gonna try something that's like kind of risky, but
Okay.
I think it's a good idea or an interesting idea.
Okay.
So I wanted to cast Identify on one of the gems.
Okay.
You know, that was the sabotage.
Yeah.
You have to be holding it to cast Identify.
Do you still have the piece you pulled out?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it doesn't. It's not active anymore, so I want to try and get one of the
Oh,
active ones.
okay. I see what you're saying.
You need to be holding it to cast Identify. Can I hold it with Mage Hand?
Give me an Arcana check.
8.
You're not sure.
I'll try it.
Okay. So you're snatching another piece then? Okay.
With Mage Hand.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me another sleight of hand with intelligence.
Okay. Well, I'm proficient in sleight of hand. But
Yeah, but with intelligence
Oh,
instead of
gotcha.
dexterity, because you're doing it with mage hand.
Okay, I understand. I'm sorry, I was confused.
Yeah.
Uh,
So you keep
12.
your proficiency. Okay, 12? Okay, you're barely able to get it out of there without anybody noticing.
okay.
Okay. Okay, so you pull it out. What are you guys doing as a whole? Like, are you going to park here? Do you identify, like, right here?
No, I'll duck around the corner.
Okay, fair enough. Are you guys going with her?
I'd be walking away. I would tell Tobias, since that's who I'm with, and anyone
After.
else who would come nearby, that
Oh, okay.
this isn't our problem.
Yeah, that's kind of how Vice is feeling. Like,
After, yeah.
this
If
is
they need us.
interesting, but really not our problem.
There's other things that
After-
we need to do.
Yeah, after passing him the saw, I will sit down on the platform for probably about a half hour.
They're going to be ushering people out of this area.
Oh, if they're ushering me out, I'm leaving. If they have
Okay.
information for me,
Are you going together with her?
I'm trying to stay with the group.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with
Well,
everyone.
it sounds like we're all just going to.
So you guys head like a block away, basically?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what did we have to do today?
I'm gonna go essentially rest. And
I'm gonna go relax too.
So do you just want to go
Tune
back to
to
the inn
that
then,
item.
everybody?
Yeah.
yeah.
I would like to.
No, because we don't have rooms there anymore.
That's true. You're out of room. That is true.
So I would go find.
Where do you want to go to identify?
Can I do it while we're walking?
If someone carries you, sure.
If you guys want a safe, cheap place, I think I have some friends around here that could provide us a place for the night. Keep us safe too.
Also, I have an idea of something we can do, but it might be best to talk about it not here.
Well, I know what I want to do next. I've got somebody to go hunt down.
Somebody to go hunt down?
Yes, I need money.
Well, these things aren't mutually exclusive. It may be
Is it fully
actually
charged, or is
really
it-
lucrative to go
That's
through
mine
both
is
of
one
these,
charge.
because depending on
Did you read the notes about
whether
it?
my
Did you
idea
charge
works, this could be
um,
relatively easy to find out who did this.
Hold on, I'm still reading.
At the same time, we can help you hunt down that person. I mean, like I said, I don't think that it will be too difficult to pursue both avenues.
Depends on your avenue if we have to leave.
Some things
Yeah,
could be
that's-
time sensitive as well.
That's
I have a.
I
Not sure
can't.
how time sensitive my issue is, but
So are you guys heading towards his friends that can put you up for the night?
Is it gonna
that's where I'm
cost?
yeah.
hoping to go.
Yeah, I'm going with it.
Will it cost us?
shouldn't. I wouldn't, right? My
You
safe
wouldn't think
houses,
so.
yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it like 10?
$500 cover
Yeah.
charge? What?
I mean, if nothing else, short rests. But anyway, so while you're walking over there, because that's in the booze quarter, if I recall correctly, while you're walking over there, you're able to finish it. This is, again, pretty crude. What it's doing is it's not even a fully formed spell per se. This does not have like an effect that goes on someone. It would require a constant channel of energy of some form pushing through it for it to do it. But as long as that is the case, what it does is it messes with your perception of the people around you, so that you do not recognize them as friendly. You recognize them as being hostile to you.
I also turn to Remy and say, "Hey, thanks for saving me back there."
That's what I do, Doc. I mean, we're friends.
And I'm sorry for acting like a jerk the other day. You don't deserve that. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Sometimes I'm a little trusting. Maybe a little too trusting at times. I mean, I do think that. I do still think that, like, the sheriff and us could only gain by being open and honest with each other, but, you know, I do recognize that I shouldn't have just thrown that out because, I mean, it's not my place to talk about things of a personal nature that pertain to you. And that was
And that goes-
not okay for me.
And that goes for everyone.
Release the Jake.
Well, except for Zotan. If we find out anything
I
about
don't
him,
think
we're telling
I don't think
everybody.
it's in there on how to.
And I just kind of make a sly smile at you.
How to recharge it.
What? I
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
listening.
So it recharges every day. But
I
it has
just
nothing where if its charges are
No,
depleted,
do a chuckle.
there's a chance that
Well,
that the
well, the
Jim's
D6
charges.
is, yeah.
So message is alive.
But she wasn't
So
for a
are
second there.
you. Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Because it would be pretty standard for me to have to roll a new character.
I turned it into a dog toy for a construct.
There you
No,
go.
actually,
Toss around.
this is a pretty good time to.
Jake?
Are we going to cut again, or is that just
No, we're not going to cut.
Okay,
We're
sorry.
gonna keep going.
New stuff, guys. But hey, welcome, Jake.
Actually, here, better.
No, I want this to be awkward. Do it. Bring it back. Like when you're
Anyway,
drive
as I was
you have to slide your card in with your left hand through something that someone else is holding.
So while you're running, we killed the robots,
Good.
and I obtained a chainsaw.
Great.
Not literally. It's more like a big sawzall.
Yeah,
Anyway, as I was finishing my conversation,
With-
I was just saying
reasonable rules.
there is much that we all still need to learn, and you know,
And do.
I'm trying to figure out where we're even at in the conversation. Actually, thanks, Jake.
No, really, thank you for being here.
Do you like Porto so far? I haven't been here too often, but like every now and then my family will come through.
Considering we got jumped, I know it's gonna
Like
squash.
constant turmoil the whole time.
So not
We're
much.
headed towards
It's
one of the nicest steak houses.
basically every Tuesday.
So much rest because we're just gonna meet up.
You know, for the last month, yeah, I'd say that's about
This is
right.
actually fairly the most calm I've had in a very, very long time.
I can't remember. Did you tell us anything about like your memories that were coming back with Porto?
Yeah, I
Don't think you did.
don't think I did.
Okay.
Anyway, I proceed to tell you anyway.
And so started out in character.
Just kidding. No, but I do bring up there. I was like, those were very strange constructs, weren't they? I recognize something about them. I don't know what it is, but I recognize something about them.
Yeah, you were talking about the like where you were made.
Yeah.
Except
I see things, but very just glimpses of them. I can't quite grasp my finger on it.
hey, just so you know, I'm really glad that I don't remember being born. I don't know if it's the same thing for you. Like, I don't know if it hurts to get welded together like that.
Are we all here?
Yeah.
No, but then I turned.
You don't remember that? Do people do like more humanoid like mammals not remember coming out of their egg? Like, is that not a normal thing?
It's a little-
Have eggs.
My
The,
mother
the egg
remembers.
thing is a little different.
No. He said earlier that they did.
Yes. We hatch before we leave our mother.
Oh my gosh, that's
And-
gotta be horrible.
And we don't remember much of that
Just
process.
imagine,
Hey
I am
Jay,
a Minotaur.
you ever seen Lord of the Rings? You know when they come out of the goo?
Yeah.
That's essentially me, but
So,
molten lava.
Doc, it looks like
Not
you've
quite,
been,
but okay.
It looks like you've been shined a little bit.
I'm sorry. What?
Shined.
Yeah, your faceplates aren't really
A
fitting
little
together
melted.
like
as
the
well.
Shining. And I was like,
As you guys look at me, I'm
Well, I
like,
mean, he does have some
smelled
psychic
it.
stuff.
as you look at me,
He died, then came back.
Is your knee still gimp?
and I'll be like, yeah, they got my knee again.
We really need to take this guy and be fixed.
Yeah, and they'll be like, I'm fine. As my jaw kind of like goes.
robot stroke.
I'm
It's
fine.
just growing
He's
pains.
out.
Talking slower, one half is.
Happens to all of us.
He kind of stood next to a robot as it vented a lot of steam and dealt him 44 damage.
in my face, and I went unconscious, and I fell underneath.
They blow up on sixes.
The cart fell on top.
Actually, 4s.
When I turned to Remy, though, I was just kind of saying, so, I mean, this is kind of a silly question, I mean, but what do you think of Porto since we've been here?
I'm having a blast.
I'll give you one.
Did you
positive.
see my trench coat? This is an Iron Alliance Jones Incorporated branded trench coat.
Also, he's currently wearing a essentially Artificer beer hat.
And did you see my replica torch?
Where did you get that hat?
Oh my gosh, I forgot I was wearing this. I went into the inn and they were having some demonstration.
Because I would very much like to inquire where you got that.
Maybe I should take it back. I guess
Wait.
no one asked me
Wait,
for
you-
it.
By the way, it's the auto hydration circulation helm.
You
But add that.
You
Sure.
stole.
It's not been made into an item, but sure.
I said, I turned to Remy. You stole that hat.
It was given to him.
I open up the bag of holding and reach in and go, and I'm helping someone else. And I pull out just the bottom of the reciprocating saw.
You can't hold it with 2 fingers.
And I'm
you
helping
go.
someone else. And I put it back in, and you could say I'm having a bit of a sticky finger streak.
Where did you get a Ziploc bag?
We've been killing
Ziploc bag of holding.
It's got like little
Ziploc
colored-
brands.
It's that thing where like you open it and the side peels off.
What it is,
It's a Ziploc bag.
it's not even a bag, it's just the zip. You like open it up upside down accidentally, everything pours out.
Dang it!
So you mean we've been killing things every day for how many days? But stealing, that's where you draw the line.
I mean, whatever
Yes, I
whatever
could-
Shotokai is
No, no,
gonna
I was-
help does to help us stand,
Yeah.
it's fine.
But in terms of the last few days, this is honestly, yeah, I've had a lot of fun doing this, but minus the getting crushed part, getting
And melted.
and melted part, and,
Yeah.
getting thrown around part.
Other than that,
Other
Giving
than
people
that,
strokes. It's all good.
this is the most adventure that I've had in years.
One of those threw a cart at him.
We have
Oh, yeah.
we do have one task in
Sounds
mind.
like a
We
ragdoll.
are going to help this group of inventors to find out their saboteurs.
We
We
are?
are?
Well, otherwise I am
we're-
dishonest in my chainsaw.
we're gonna talk about that. That's where we're going. We're gonna go to your friend's house and talk about what we're gonna do next. Because, like I said, going after this might actually be easier than than you guys think. And that that's
I'm
probably
There
some
could
good
be-
cheddar.
There could be money.
and I'm gonna go.
Did they
really
offer
quick.
us money?
He offered us anything that he's made.
I already have it.
And I say,
No, you don't.
well, I said,
I don't-
I'll
Better
get
excited.
later.
I don't want what he made. I need money to pay for something I have being made.
That's good.
You may even be able to exchange whatever he did for that. I mean, all I'm saying is it's worth a look. Like, let me tell you guys kind of what I'm thinking that we could do, and then
So at this point, you come around the corner and you see, it's warehouse is not the proper word. It's nowhere near big enough for a warehouse. But you see, basically, it's a large shed attached to another building. It looks like it belongs to that building, but it does not. It's just an anonymous large shed, and these most of the buildings are like flush with each other with no alleyways. But this one, it's attached to a large what looks like bakery. There's a large alleyway to its side. You know that is the entrance, and then you go inside. You lift a secret latch and go back in. You go downstairs to the safe house.
Alrighty. Would who is it? Night Eye.
Mhm.
Would Night Eye be near here?
This is his base of operations. Whether
Okay.
he's here or not, you would should let you.
Okay. So as we walk in, is there anybody there at all?
Okay, so
Anybody that would know?
So you walk up, and you open up. You open it up into like the storage area. There's nobody there. That's not a big surprise. You walk over. You make sure they close the door. You lift the catch, and then that reveals the other catch that you pull up, and that pulls up a trap door on the floor. You go down some stairs. You reset it. You reset the two traps you disarmed, and you head on down. And it's about this time you notice it's pretty quiet down here.
You said there were people. in
Would I be
this?
suspicious of quietness down here?
I mean, it's pretty early in the day, so maybe not.
This is spooky.
We should be safe here. This is one of my boss's safe houses.
At that, I'm gonna give you like a pointed look,
Is your boss?
but that's it.
okay. So if we're safe, let me just run through my idea
Do you
here.
keep going?
Oh, do I keep going?
Yeah, or do
I'll
you
just
stopping
say,
in,
if
like,
we-
the
if
entrance?
if we ever need safety, we can always stay here. And that's all I say.
Okay.
Hello?
But are you going in?
Oh, going in, yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Sorry.
looking for.
I thought
Okay.
The robot.
Anyway, what were you saying? As you guys are walking in.
Okay, so here's my idea. So the Mr. Villingnon? Villingnon? Villingen? Mr. Villingen. That was his name. Okay, so what he
I realized
said...
on stream.
Captain Villain, bro.
That is what I heard too, though. So
Mr.
don't
Monet.
Well,
The villain and Captain Obvious.
So we have 5 items. 5 things that we can run through to narrow down a list of suspects for who could have done this. Because we know they needed to have access to the blueprints. They needed to have access to the machines. They needed to know how to use the core, or at least enough to know how the core works. They needed to know...
One change. They either needed to have enough arcane knowledge to know how it works, or have the blueprints. Either or.
One more point.
And probably enough arcane knowledge to read the blueprints, right?
Yeah.
Go for number
So-
4.
They needed to understand how to use these gems, and they needed to... And they had to have arcane skill, but not like... You know, this is still a crude job.
And there is one more thing that we know. They must have come from the last festival. I mean,
I'm not
else would they
100%
have-
sure
how
on
else
that
would they
one.
have sabotaged? How would they know where they were going? They must have been following.
Unless it's a part of the group the entire time.
That is true. But that means they were following.
Vanya, give me an intelligence check.
I'm not intelligent.
Oh, the guy with the whirling dervish.
Yeah, we're not
Good.
again.
Just intelligent straight.
Well, we'll have to go back to the end.
6.
Okay.
I'm not intelligent.
Don't worry about it then.
My reasoning
So-
is
We'll collect
they
it.
have to have been with the robots long enough to alter together.
Well, think about it like this. At the other shows, it didn't stand up and start killing people.
Right.
She
So
she
between-
looked at the gem. It seems like the gem is like threw off some sort of funky thing that made it wake up and see everyone around it as hostile.
Between,
Right?
Yeah.
So these can't have been in at the last show. Otherwise, it would have woken up and been like, "Hey, everyone here is trying to
Between
kill me.
now
It's time
and
to go
then.
to."
That gives us a time theory.
Yes, but yes, and we can use this information. If we question his staff, we can come up with a list of people who, one, had access to the blueprints, another list, who had access to the prototypes. You know, make these lists, and whichever names are on every one of those lists, or, you know, 4 of the 5 possible, then we know those people have the opportunity to actually do this.
I agree. I think it's a smart idea to go back to the.
I don't make them.
So at this point, you walk into an open area, and it's very much so like what it is this is a subterranean cave, and you see that there is seawater that's pushed up into it. So there's some sort of like underground tunnel that leads out into the ocean that comes up here and washes seawater in and out. So there's kind of like this little grotto sort of thing going on there. And you look around, and it is very bare. There are a few scraps of wood. There is what was left of a fire. There is a wide, crude writing in badly written primordial, which you recognize as it's written in primordial, and it says, "To the Briarwoods with you, Shriekers."
Vice
This
as
place
we
looks like abandoned warehouse, not the same house.
But this is cool.
I'm also gonna, even though I saw that sign and also read Primordial, I'm gonna not read the room and I'm gonna be like, you know, with all our deal making and list making, how much gold do you think it would cost for us to keep like a lawyer / accountant on retainer and like travel with us? Do you think we can afford that? Probably, right?
Urias. He could probably do it. He has money.
Probably better at it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't
he'd be
think
a
he would
lawyer.
want to be hired by us to walk
could just
behind us and
Take him with us.
you know, parse out texts and deals.
But
He'll be fine.
growing up, I learned a little bit, maybe not about making deals, but I'm not a bad money keeper.
But what about like looking through the contract and being like,
Oh.
did we make a deal? Which
Also-
deals have we made?
You will note where there should be an elemental rift, there is not. There is the circle that was used to keep it stable, the tuning forks that kept it stable. Sorry, there's one of the 2 tuning forks that kept it stable. And it has very obviously and very definitely intentionally been closed.
Yeah.
There's rules for that.
If I'm there when the contract is being written, I mean, I'm good at telling people, not so good at telling the document.
Also, anyone that wants to can make a religion check or Arcana check about the Briarwoods.
Are you totally literate? Do you
Would
know
I
those
know
like
more
7
about-
syllable
Well, we
words
can't
that
read
only
that though,
lawyers
right?
know?
Oh,
Okay.
that's true. Did you guys not read it to them?
I
what?
didn't.
Do you
Okay,
read?
you guys-
I read
yeah,
it and then started talking about accountants.
Okay, so you guys.
He hasn't said anything.
You guys can make religion or
You're
Arcana
like, I'm
checks.
an accountant named Briar.
I will-
Look, we're in
Vice.
like an empty, deserted room, and there's like a
Is it a
scrap of
religion
paper
or
with writing on it
Yeah.
on the floor. Like, I'm gonna ignore that.
I will ask you about the writing.
So
My
passive
dog is
insight
smarter than me.
of
15.
18.
15. Sorry, what?
Passive insight of 18. As we're like sitting here talking, do I notice like him getting weird?
I think your face is falling
Yeah.
at this point, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and at this point in time, I'm like,
Something wrong with it?
So it's actually not the Briarwoods, it's the Fellwood. I actually told you that wrong. My
okay,
bad.
no.
But the Fellwood is the part of the Fae where those that are not obedient to the dictates of their gods are sent to be tormented by twisted Fae. It is Arceos' equivalent to hell.
I bet there's a lawyer there.
Probably a couple.
So I noticed that it was, you said the writing on the wall,
Yeah. So
and then the riff is gone,
yeah.
and it's a little quiet.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Would my patron do that to me?
Have you said any
No.
of this?
You'll find out.
No, right now I'm
Makes me a
just
little
observing.
nervous.
Oh crap.
When I okay.
11.
11. This doesn't look like it was done by somebody sabotaging this place. This looks like it may have been somebody pulling up stakes.
Pulling up stakes.
Yeah.
All right.
I love being in an unsafe house.
At this point in time, I'm gonna go over to Zotan and I'm gonna pull him aside for a minute and.
Yeah. So,
Um,
in other words, you don't respond to my question. You just start.
Oh
walking.
wait.
my
Yeah, I
bad.
guess you did ask, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say what
That's a little
is
bit
this
suspicious. You just walk around
Yeah.
and just follow
place?
you.
To my patron. I say, who is you? What's your name again?
Vice.
Vice.
Do you need some advice?
Did you fail your comedy check?
No, it was a 13. I think DC's a 10 on that because it's a dad joke, right?
The humor
Okay,
comes from
so
awful.
you asked that, and no response.
Good talk.
Also, when you are engaging your telepathy, you don't feel like telepathy is engaging so much. You just feel like you're thinking loud in your own headspace.
Hello.
Good thing he's got some levels of fighter.
So you asked a
I
question,
did. I said, "Is everything all right, Vice?"
and it would appear that I feel pretty uncomfortable.
This place seems pretty empty.
I mean, yeah, typically it usually is. This is supposed to be a very safe place, but
Safe
it's
in
not
what
like
way?
it's how it's supposed to be.
Like safe in the fact that nobody is here, or safe that there are people to
Would
protect
I
us?
recognize
Yeah, do you guys normally tag your walls?
the circle on the ground?
Go ahead and give me
Usually
an
it's
arcana.
just- this is a
Given
place
your
for
history, yes,
me and
actually,
some of my
because of your
people to
goddess. This
lay
was
rest.
something used to keep a stable rift
You know,
So-
during trips that we
It has
take when
been
we travel to
turned
other
off
cities, and
by
this,
removing one of the
Would you
crucial
say-
Well,
components.
yeah, and the city he traveled to was Fellwood, right? I don't know what the problem
Would,
is.
would you say that this is a place for us
What about
to be
Fellwood?
safe?
what?
And who's his boss again?
Oh, that
I would
His boss?
sign
He's
just
told you that his
gave
name is Brock.
instructions to.
I've told Zotan.
That's all. The sign just
Yeah.
says to
Oh,
give.
that's right,
It's
you
just
didn't tell him.
instructions
Yeah.
to
You
go
don't
to Fellwood. I don't know
tell
what city that is, but
he
I don't
did
think
not
it's
do
near
Wait,
here.
wait, read the whole message
I know what that
to me.
means.
Safe,
My standard
but something feels
religion
off.
check is 1. So
So it just says
Fun, isn't it?
like go to Fellwood, you losers, or something like that.
no, I think it just says go to. It just says like be gone to Fellwood or whatever.
What it says is to Fellwood with you, Shriekers.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, it just wants the Shriekers to go to Fellwood is all.
Oh,
I don't know. Is that Like a
Wait, is it
family
like
name or what?
does it look like it's signed Shriekers or it's saying?
You can't read Primordial.
I mean, based on how it's written. Does it look like? What I'm saying is like to the Fellward. Is
Have
there
you,
like?
have you ever
What
tried
happens to
to
that?
like parse sentence structure in Japanese
at
kanji?
the beginning of
You have
the,
no
at the
idea.
beginning of the whole
I'm saying
campaign,
like, does it
I
look
did
like there's a line
revision
here
check.
with something underneath
Too
it?
many people are talking at once.
So, sure,
Okay.
but you have no idea what that means because for all you know, it's written from bottom right to top left.
Never mind.
My point is that it's
It's
not clear
you're-
to you because you don't speak Primordial.
Right.
Anyway, yes.
Is telling people to go to the Fellwood like a common thing? Or is this kind of more of like a saying that would be from someone who's like Faye?
This. So have you actually told them what the message is?
I mean, in the way that I just did, yeah.
Okay.
In the way that you translate when you're like
Yeah.
semi-good with
Yeah.
languages.
No, not really.
So like this is kind of a more of a like
This is
Faye common sort of thing to say?
No, this isn't Fae common at all. They don't talk about the Fellwood. The Fellwood is this awkward thing that's part of the Fae, and it's like the really dark part of the Fae that they don't usually like to admit is there, but it's being indulged for the gods' sake, and that's kind of awkward for everyone.
Do I
Even mortals?
No, to mortals it's just hell.
So like for a
For the Fae, it's
physical
weird.
plane.
For the Fae, it's like this. We all know about Uncle Tom. We all know what he does for the mob, but we don't talk about it.
But like for the physical plane, it wouldn't be like way out there for someone to be like, go to the Fellwood, you loser. Like,
So that would be like a very juvenile insult, like something an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old would say. Yes.
Never mind.
Okay.
It was answered.
Okay. So back to what we were talking about.
Yes.
What were you saying? You were saying something. I don't remember what you said.
Oh, I just said that. You asked how if everything was okay, and I said something
Normally-
feels a little off here, and I probably heard him communicate to them what was on the wall.
This is probably the point where that conversation is
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
right now.
So, well, so you know what kind of came into the picture here? A little bit of a random time, and I just want to let you guys know that it's not random.
So we should.
I guess I should open up to you guys a little bit more.
Should we leave this place? Is it not safe? Is it
I'm
unsafe?
thinking we might want to leave.
Okay, let's go.
Anybody looking around or anything?
yeah, that's exactly what I just
immediately
rolled
looking around.
for.
As soon as I hear it's not safe, I'm like, let's go.
Okay, what are you doing? And what are you doing, Lex?
I started looking around, specifically looking for anything that looked like it might be dangerous or out of the
I'm
ordinary.
looking for movement outside of our party.
Investigation,
I'm
perception?
doing an investigation too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've honestly just like tried to start doing like a short rest, and I'm just gonna like check the pouch that I got really quick.
Okay.
12.
That I stole.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you check it. There's 26 gold and about 32 silver.
Nice.
Trying to find the annual price for an accountant.
Somebody got their pocket change when they went to Comic-Con. Anyway,
12.
12. What were you looking for?
Movement.
So you pick up some movement, but it's just like rats. There's some crabs that come in and out of the water. What were you investigating?
Valuables.
Looking for anything that's valuable. You find what looks. Oh, what did you get for your investigation? Oh, 5. You know what?
Find that wood that has the message on it.
There's a broken plank.
They're like, it's a coin.
What was your investigation?
Was it investigation or perception?
Mistakes.
What was investigation for you?
Coins.
That would have been 19.
19. What were we looking for?
Anything that looked out of the ordinary or dangerous.
Nothing looks overtly dangerous here. It looks very stripped. I would say with how good that roll is, there's not a buildup of dust here. This was done like in the past couple of days.
What I actually want to do
Yeah.
before leaving is I want to, as a ritual cast, speak with animals. Try to speak with one of the rats down there.
Okay, so the rats kind of scurry away from you, but the crabs are pretty chill.
The crabs are.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna be like, hey, what What happened around here? What happened to my friends?
Okay.
Or
Okay,
did you see
so-
what was going on around here?
so
We
the
were
crab-
in here before.
The crab. It says. What happened around here? The tide washed in. I was here. Who are your friends?
I don't know. Maybe some people you saw come through here. Maybe they looked a little bit like me.
No one looks like you.
What did you see?
I saw there was like this bright fish down there, but I couldn't reach it. And then the tide came in and I was here. And there were some of the thrashing biters, and they were moving around, and they were taking like these things that were like shells but were not round enough, and they were taking them out, and they were making lots of noise like dying prey.
Interesting.
And like looking around, there's no evidence of violence here, so you may have to translate some crab experience, if you will.
Okay. Well, I guess if there's nothing else you can tell me,
I can
appreciate
tell
it.
you many things. What do you want to know?
Oh, about what happened here. That's about it.
The thrashing biters, they were like moving around with the not shell things that are not round enough. And they like grabbed them and then they left.
What did
And
these
then they came in and grabbed more of them and then they left.
What did these
and then they
fashion
grabbed
fighters
more.
look like?
And then there was this one and he took the shiny thing, well, like that one over there, and then the big shining thing went away.
Would I be making any sense of kind of what he's saying?
Give me an
Parts of-
intelligence check.
Okay. By the way, can
Yeah.
I do this during the middle of their conversation? Can
Sure.
I talk to the crab using telepathy and
Telepathy?
like,
Yeah, you're like,
in deep speech? But I want to scare it. Just
yeah,
for the fun.
you're like, you don't feel any telepathic connection to it.
Stupid animals. I swear, I've never had any luck in this game with any animals whatsoever, dude. Animals are just dumb. I don't like that anymore.
I mean, what are the chances that an animal can speak deep speech anyway?
If it does, you don't want to talk to it. You want to run.
If it has enough
It's at the
tentacles-
very least seems to be describing them taking things out of here. What it means by taking away. Give me a perception check.
Start speaking
Perception?
Cthulhu.
Yeah,
Yeah, didn't it like say like that one over there?
like that one over there. Yeah.
What?
It is deep speech.
I know, that's why I said start speaking
No, it's
Cthulhu
not.
back.
Oh man, 10.
Crab is
10 is very easy to see. So over it kind of like gestures with the claw over towards the circle that was keeping the rift stable, and one of the two tuning forks that is necessary is there, and the other one is gone. So it took the shiny thing and then the big shiny thing.
Gotcha.
Is there anything under the water? Like,
Crabs.
Have you gone and looked?
well, I was saying, is like anything under the water that
It's very dark.
washed up under the.
Oh, I see.
Like taking some of the tuning forks with it into the tide.
No, that stuff's all well away from this.
Is there any secrets under the water? If I had anything from video games, there's always secrets under the water.
check.
Are you saying this, most of this out loud, everything but the video game part? Or are you just thinking
Well,
about it?
I was waiting,
I'm
but I was
thinking
just gonna
about
go switch underwater.
Okay.
Okay. So you go look
the
underwater.
video
Go ahead and
game
give me an investigation check.
Would
I'm gonna
a
guidance
an
myself.
abandoned safe house like this that would generally make me feel uncomfortable and cautious, right?
It
Or maybe just more curious?
Head out
it would
the
depend,
room or
considering the
whatever,
fact that
something
people aren't
like-
jumping out of the walls. This is not an ambush.
Okay.
How long this place is safe? You don't know. For the moment, it seems fine.
Okay.
You probably would not feel comfortable, excuse me, staying here long term in case they've got people watching this place or coming to check to see whether anybody's come back. Whoever they is.
24.
24? Okay. You go down there and you immediately find a complicated series of traps that are very, very bad. The worst of which would trigger a small detonation that would collapse the tunnel on someone.
Like the underwater tunnel?
The underwater tunnel. Yeah. So this has been trapped a lot.
Okay. I just go back up.
Okay. But you don't find anything down there as far as I'm
Even though that crab said there was a shiny fish.
concerned. It did. It was yellow.
And I don't care about fish. I'm not hungry.
The old man.
No, yellow fish.
I do think it's wise that we
This fish like
stay here for at least an hour,
So
recover some strength.
Balance speed.
Because the fight we were just in was a decent fight. But it does appear that we may not want to stay here for too long.
Yeah, not for too long. It's a little weird.
So, real quick, did you mention anything about the Shriekers?
I mean, yeah, as it offhandedly, I wasn't like, oh my gosh. I was like, yeah, it's like he's talking about like, oh, hey Shriekers, just so you know, you should go to Fellwood. And then I was like, is that like a family name or what? But I wasn't like, oh gosh.
Right.
The Shriekers.
Knowing
Again, he knows no religion.
knowing about that name,
Nice too.
I imagine someone
So,
may be
I
watching
mean-
this place. I actually am willing to bet on it.
Yeah, I
Shriekers
think
have
we need to
anything to do
be
with the
very
Fae?
careful.
Doesn't sound
I'm
weird.
gonna turn to Vice.
I'm not gonna lie, I received a warning that maybe at some point I may be watched. Or could be watched.
I'm
So-
gonna get closer
Find yourselves.
to Vice, and I'm
Alright.
gonna whisper this.
We walk slowly back.
Okay.
The Shriekers are the cult.
So to all of you, Vanya turns around and starts slowly walking out.
Yeah. And I was gonna
I'm just gonna
look
follow
right
him.
back at
Okay.
you and I'm
Because
gonna
I'm
be
just
like,
thinking about
I know.
accounts.
I'm
Talking
really
a message
wondering
about it, I'm
why
like,
the crap cultural needs an accountant.
well, the whole, ever since I got here, we were like, contracts.
As I leave, though, I'm gonna say start
So,
comment to Vice.
Message is buzzing in a conversational, like you know when you're having a conversation with someone and they don't care, but they're like, oh yeah, yeah. That's message.
4%. How much is 4%? This is so much smarter than cold grillings.
Unfortunately, message doesn't have an economic foundation.
True.
So,
You kidding? The Aquaformics? They're well known for their banking.
well,
Look,
kind
ants
of.
are industrious.
Yeah, but it's kind of all to serve the hive mind.
Hey Vice,
6 gold means 6 gold spent.
Okay.
do you know if there's any way to watch the entrance from down here?
Was there?
So Night Eye, as his name suggests, one of his abilities was to see things remotely. So he would just handle it.
He would just what?
He would
Handle
just
it.
handle that.
Handle that? Okay.
So for us, there would be no way.
No, there's no like built-in enchantment or like vision tube with mirrors or whatever. No.
Okay.
But I'm gonna.
Although you should see about having one of those installed in your home floor.
On my way out, though, I'm
Or your
gonna.
head. Oh, Paris.
I'm gonna turn to you, Vice, and be like, "Nice safe house. Good job." In a snarky kind of way, and I'm leaving.